So here's my last video, and this is how the real estate laws are now affecting sellers and how you work with listing agents. So again, guys, there's not really much changes here. The big thing is transparency. You, the seller, need to know that what you pay or compensate a listing agent is negotiable, and what you pay or compensate a buyer's agent is also negotiable. Now, you will notice a difference in the listing agreements, right? There's really no longer cooperative brokerage, at least according to my company that I hang my license under, eXp Realty. So what that means is when we sign a listing agreement, it's going to specifically state what you are compensating me. Now, there's really nothing in there that says what you are going to compensate a buyer's broker. In the past, let's say you signed a listing agreement for 6%, 3 to me, 3 to a cooperating buyer broker. It does not say that anymore. It's just saying, hey, you, the listing agent, I'm going to compensate you this amount. Now, what we can say, what we can do is we can, in like the additional terms, say, hey, yes, me, the seller, I am willing to compensate a buyer broker this amount. You can also leave that open, right? So we could say, hey, we are going to compensate a buyer broker amount, but let's see what offers come in. Let's see if the buyer broker can actually negotiate. And I think this all comes down to like the strength of the market, right? If it's a really hot market, you can probably get away with maybe compensating a buyer broker a little less. But if it's a really slow market like it is today in Florida, you're probably going to want to compensate a buyer broker more to get more people through the door, right? Ultimately, when we sell your home, we want to get the best deal. And the best deal is not only the price, but the terms. And to get the best deal, we need as many people coming through your home as possible. And you got to remember that the majority of people coming through your home are going to be represented by a real estate agent. So it's still probably, and I'm always going to recommend that you compensate a buyer broker, but the big thing is you need to know and understand as a seller, like you do not have to compensate a buyer broker should you choose not to. But you just got to realize there could be ramifications of you not wanting to compensate a buyer broker. So what's happening now on my listings, we have a lot of agents, they call me up ahead of time and they say, hey, John, how much is your seller willing to compensate a buyer broker? So you got to think about this logically. If I say, hey, Mr. Buyer Broker, unfortunately, my seller's not willing to compensate anything, you think they're still going to come show your house? Probably not. But if I tell them, hey, yes, my seller is willing to compensate a buyer broker 3%, they are probably going to come show your house. So you got to keep this in mind. Yes, you can do whatever you want, and this has always been the case. You always had the ability to compensate at whatever level you negotiated with your listing agent, and you can always determine what you want to pay a buyer broker, but you have to understand the consequences of doing that in the market at that time. So I hope that helps. Again, at the end of the day, there's really not much changes. There's just more transparency, different forms, and we have to be very clear about your rights as a seller, which, again, you can do whatever you want, but just understand that there's consequences to everything we do. So hope that helps. If you have questions, drop them below.